snow accumulated and covered mountain.
Hokkaido is getting a lot of snow then?
Yeah, not only Hokkaido, the coastline of Japan Sea.
Uh-huh. Nice. Um, have there been any other casualties because of the winter?
Yeah, and some coastline street. Once it had landslide, so they are repairing, but it's strong rainfall caused landslide again.
Hmm.
Then 5 or 6 people died.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a difficult thing for I think
They're
a lot of
working
people.
working in that place.
Hmm. Yeah, it's I guess I don't know. With Japan, I didn't think there would be problems with the winter weather. I assumed that people would be relatively, because it's an advanced country, so I thought it would be a country in which you would have
Mm-hmm.
not that many casualties for something like,
Mm-hmm.
bad weather or
How
cold
about in
weather.
America? How about the economy?
Yeah, we do have people who, for example, they get frostbite or some people do die every every winter because just inadequate, heat. They don't have heating in their homes, or they don't have any way to stay warm when they are, even if they, I mean, they might not have a home, so they might live on the street, right? They might be homeless, and they might be struggling to have things like heat when they are, you know,
Mm-hmm.
even if they do have a home, because heating is very expensive. It depends on many factors,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and it's increasingly getting more and more expensive to survive in the winter temperature, you know.
Yeah, food price is getting higher.
Yeah, every day. I mean, I don't know. Recently, I heard that gas prices in the United States were actually the lowest they have been in 2 years. About 2 weeks ago, or that week, 2 to 3 weeks ago, that time it was very low.
Mm-hmm.
But things are changing. We don't really know. I don't really keep track, honestly. I don't know. I just go to the gas station. If I find two gas stations and one of them is a little bit cheaper, then I go to the one that's a little bit cheaper. If
Do you
one of
have
them is a little bit more expensive, then
private plan?
do I have? Yeah, I have a private car. Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
India.
Because I
No.
have to drive myself everywhere if I go. When
Not,
I came from
not about
Wisconsin,
not about to India.
in India, people don't have private cars. I mean, actually, no. Now a lot of them do. A lot do now. My family doesn't have anything like.
Mm-hmm.
My family doesn't have a car in India. We have cars here instead. So
But do you have still some relatives in Bangladesh?
yeah, we do. We do. We have everybody. Actually, everybody is there.
In Japan, in New Year's Day, many relatives gathered in the house. That
Uh-huh.
custom. How
Uh-huh.
about Bangladesh or India?
Yeah, we do. The New Year for us is different actually. So it's not the January 1st New Year. For us, the New Year is actually in the spring. So
Lunar
around
calendar? No.
it's a solar calendar, but it
Oh.
is the year begins right after the first day of spring.
Mm-hmm.
So similar, I think it's not right after, maybe 1 month after the first day of spring. So
Mm-hmm.
around April 15, April
Mm-hmm.
20, that period is the new year. And yeah, it's a major celebration, big
Mm-hmm.
celebration. Yeah. Uh,
Chinese New Year is very noisy.
yeah, Chinese New Year is definitely one of the lunar ones. And yeah, big celebrations, dragons and floats
Yes,
and
yes. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of food also, a lot of food.
Yeah, that's right. So in Japan, there are many Chinatowns,
Uh-huh.
so we can enjoy that in Chinatown.
Yeah. And does Japan have a traditional calendar, or do you guys just use the normal
Before maybe we used to lunar calendar, but now a normal, but like
Gregorian, yeah,
yeah.
Gregorian calendar? Yeah. Yeah, no, we have a lot of different people in India that have different calendars actually. So some of them they have, because there are different regions in India with different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
The years are different. So for example, the New Year for the Bengali people, my people, Our New Year is April 15, between April 15 and 20.
Mm.
Another group, maybe another cultural group, theirs could be maybe the next week after that. Some of them begin early April, late March, a little bit of difference. So they don't all Indian people, it's not like saying all Chinese people have that one Chinese calendar. There are multiple Indian calendars in India, because different cultures, different languages, so a lot of variety we see.
Sometimes I wonder, we are Buddhism or born in India, right?
Yeah, yeah, it
But
was.
how percentage of Indian people and Buddhist?
I think very low. I would say between 5 and 10%. I think maximum. Yeah, maybe even less. I think just 5%.
Mm.
Yeah, India is a very lot of religions, but the significant religions are Hinduism, which is about 85% population, and
Mm.
then Islam is, or Muslims are 10 to 15%. So Hindus are maybe 80%, Muslims are
Mm.
maybe 15%. The remaining Christians and Jews and Buddhists are 5%.
Oh, mixed.
Yeah, mixed, but mostly Hindus and also a very sizable
Mm.
Muslim minority. Yeah, 15%. 15 to 20% of 1 billion people is 200 million people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big minority. It's a minority, but it's a big minority.
You
So
are Hindu, right?
no, I'm actually Muslim.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm Muslim. So
Yeah, my friend is a Hindu. He's a Nepalese.
yeah, Nepal is actually the only country in the world that has Hinduism as its official religion.
Mm-hmm.
India
And
does not have, because India is just a
like,
secular.
I always ask him, what did you eat? Beans curry.
Yeah,
Oh,
they love vegetarian food.
yeah, only vegetables. So
Exactly.
he ate always uh, beans curry.
Yeah,
And is it delicious? No,
he doesn't like it.
no. I eat something to live, not to enjoy, he said.
Nice, nice. Yeah, some people are very traditional,
Mm.
India though, really as a country, I mean, if you look at the young people versus the old people
Mm.
versus the new generation versus the old generation, if you look at that difference, India is really one of those countries that is still trying to figure out like what
Mm.
is right and what is proper and what is not proper because young people are not following that same mentality that their parents follow, right?
Mm.
So what was acceptable, what was unacceptable 20 to 30 years ago is now acceptable,
Mm.
right? I mean, people before it was very rude to, for example, have boyfriend, girlfriend kind of
Mhm.
premarital relationships, but now those relationships are, if you go to any city in India, people are going to have boyfriends and girlfriends. I mean, the society has changed. In the villages, in the traditional
Mm.
home, of course, things are much more different,
Mm.
you know?
The same as Italian. I
Yeah.
have many Italian friends, but they always said, I'm not Christian. I don't like religion. Hmm.
Yeah, and it's a very difficult thing because now science and technology has kind of eliminated the reason for organized, belief, not really, not maybe not religion particularly, but we are very individualistic, right? I mean,
Mm.
if something doesn't work, there has to be a scientific reason behind it, and we have so much knowledge that some people just think religion is just hocus pocus, whatever, I mean, other people believe that religion is from my understanding, people I've spoken to, religion is
Mm.
just a way to control people.
Mm.
It's not liberty, it's not freedom. It's just you can control people by saying this is good, this is bad, don't eat this, don't eat that, but do eat this and do eat that, right? But
Mm.
it's each person's perspective. I mean,
Hmm.
I know a lot of people in the modern era who are also religious people.
I don't believe any religion, but sometimes in a funeral or some ceremony, we need to meet the priest of Buddhism. Sometimes I listen to his some lecture. It's very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I think times of birth, times of death, times of marriage,
Mm.
right? those kind of key life events, we see a lot of people relying on religious ideas and religious beliefs because, that's where science doesn't really answer the question, right? Science kind of stops when it's death. I mean, who knows life after death, right? Science also begins with, I guess, life, I mean, of course, before life, we have the baby is in the mother, whatever the case is, right? But generally, we don't know about certain things, right? We don't know about life after death. We don't know about the mysteries of, where we come from, right? Why we are here, what is our purpose, things like that. Religion answers, but for everything else, really, that we need in our daily lives, science and technology, especially today, is much more applicable, much more relevant to a lot of people, millions of people, right? So it's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, Heidi, let's get started then. I realize there's nobody else, so it's going to be just me and you, seems like. Today we're going to be looking at the article is going to focus on suffixes and stress. So it's actually one of the pronunciation classes that people are now participating in. Colingo has now moved classes. Each class is either a grammar class or a pronunciation class, right? So when we take a look at this class will focus mainly on stress rules, right? How do we know what to stress in English? Okay, when you read a word, yeah, go ahead, Heidi, sorry.
No, it's okay.
When you read a word, right, how do you know which syllable or which part of that word needs to have stress? Unlike other languages, English is not a tonal language, right? English doesn't have high tones or low tones or middle tone sounds, right? But we do use a lot of stress when we speak in English, right? So the key rule is that if you have a suffix, many of the suffixes in English, for example, what's an example of a suffix, Heidi?
Previous oath.
Yeah, us or os, or for example, previous. So the IOUS, right? Or the OUS, I should say. So in the word previous, we have.
Or friendly, LY.
Yeah, OUSALY, right? We have words like shun, right, for information, communication, right? All those kinds of words, right? Generally, when we are looking at a word that has a suffix, the stress in English falls to the word falls to the syllable that is immediately before that suffix. Okay? So when you think about it in this sense, like the word delicious, right?
Delicious, yes.
Delicious. See how there's a little bit of stress on that L, right?
Delicious.
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 Yeah, so that stress is on the L, delicious, right? Another word, for example, has a UDE ending, attitude, right? Attitude. So in that example, we see that the focus is actually on the at, right? But when you think about it, I'm trying to see, is there a way to, because it's not, to is not a suffix, so I'm thinking, how is it that we do attitude? It's actually, yeah, go ahead.
Something like ness is a suffix, right?
What is this?
Fitness.
Fitness, yeah, fitness.
Kindness.
So that kindness, friendliness.
Yes.
Friendliness, right? Once again, we see that la. The question actually, I think, is more of the idea that if a word ends in, like the word attitude, I think is what's making me a little bit confused because the stress is on that first syllable. It's attitude. Right? It's not attitude. It's attitude, right? But for delicious, it was delicious. So the L, that has that stress, right? Delicious, yeah. So I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to figure out why attitude does not have the suffix is not. Okay, we'll come back to that one. Previous. Right?
Curious.
Previous. So the curious. Yeah. So it's actually that RI that has the stress in curious, right? Curious. Because the R has that short kind of stress, right? Curious, previous, delicious,
Delicious.
you know. Also words like, courageous.
Courageous.
Courageous, right? That rage. It's kind of a very quick, but also very meaningful kind of stress, right? And then one of the things that I think is actually interesting is that there are a list of these suffixes that we can use when we are talking about English, and I guess the reason why attitude works is because the suffix in attitude is actually etude. It's the whole half of the word that's after the at. So attitude is actually just attitude, right? So let's see, actually I want to make sure I'm doing this right. Attitude. So they are saying that etude is the suffix, right? So the suffix is actually longer than what I thought it was, right? And that's why that focuses on the at, so attitude, right? What about a word like, what about this word, Heidi? I'm going to give you some examples. What about this word? Where is the stress in this word? If we find the suffix, then we can focus on the stress.
Spicy.
Spicy. Yeah, right? So that the suffix is that ICY, right? So that the suffix is ICY, so we have the focus is on the spa, right? Spicy.
Spicy.
Spicy, yeah, so that the stress is on the SP, right? And then what about some other words, Heidi? So generally, we have to focus on the suffix, and then we move the stress one syllable to the left.
Juicy, different.
Juicy. Yeah, no, it works. Juicy. Remember, Jew has that stress, right? So juicy, right? What about this word? I'm going to give you guys, or I'm going to give you, Heidi, one other word. What about that one?
Creation.
Yeah, the word creation. Creation, yeah. So that A is a little bit more stress, right? Creation, right? It's not creation or creation. It's creation, right?
Station.
Station, yeah. What about this word? Another one that ends in tion. What about this one?
Imagination.
Imagination, yeah. Imagination, right? So the I guess the ation is actually the suffix, right? The suffix is actually ation, so then we can say imagination, right? Or imagination. Imagination, so J is like that stress, right? From what I can tell, it seems to be that the G has a stress. Creation. Yeah, so the tion ending, right? The N is that, actually, in this example, imagination. Imagination. N has that stress, because the suffix is tion, right? So we have imagination. So imagination. And that N has the stress, right? So any questions about that so far, Heidi? Actually, I just wanted to... It makes sense? Okay. I wanted to ask you then, right, when we are looking at... Today we're going to talk about food a little bit, right? Yeah. And I wanted to get our minds thinking a little bit about spicy food, right? Because it's one of these things that I think generally people really enjoy spicy food, but sometimes it's not easy because, spicy food, it's an acquired taste, right? What do we say? What do we mean, Heidi, when we say in English something is an acquired taste?
Actually, Japanese traditional food are not spicy. Traditional spice is only red pepper and not pepper.
What about wasabi?
Wasabi, yes, wasabi and karashi, only that.
Wasabi is super hot. I mean, that stuff, when you eat wasabi, the heat comes out of your nose.
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah, I know you guys do. I've had wasabi on sushi
Yeah,
and peas
sometimes
and
it's
rice.
very dangerous.
Yeah, it is. If they make pepper spray using wasabi, I think it would be lethal.
Mm.
I think it could kill somebody if you put pepper spray in somebody's eyes or somebody's mouth and they breathe it. They could stop
Motion
breathing.
stopped. Sometimes people motion stopped.
I know because they just freeze. They can't move. I mean,
Yeah.
and what if they're allergic to something like that? They could die,
I don't
right?
know.
It could be very.
I've never heard that.
Guess we
It's
have to
kind of
try it. I'm just joking.
disinfection. Disinfection.
Yeah.
So disinfect some food, so we use it as a raw fish.
hmm it's so strong it actually kills the germs, right?
Yeah.
And kill the bacteria. Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. But what do we mean, Heidi, when we say something is an acquired taste?
Mm-hmm.
This phrase, what
Spice.
does that mean? Something is an acquired taste.
Acquired taste. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes people say, for example, wasabi is an acquired taste.
Mm-hmm.
Sushi is an acquired taste.
Mm-hmm.
Nagiri, I don't know how to pronounce it, right, is an acquired taste, right? Acquired taste, that means, that phrase means that it's something that you have to get used to eating before you can like it, right? So, for example, anchovies. In the United States, anchovies are considered kind of not a very fun thing to eat, right? They're considered kind of silly. They're kind of disgusting, kind of yucky. People don't really eat anchovies. They smell, they're fish. So people who love anchovies can tell people it's an acquired taste, right? You have to eat it a lot in order to enjoy it, in order to begin enjoying it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So similar situation, I think, with spicy food, right? If you, for example, Indian people, like my family, we always eat spicy food. It doesn't matter. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Mexican people, they love spicy food. I mean, if I go to a
Yeah,
Mexican
even
restaurant,
Korean.
I can tell them.
Even
Also,
Korean.
Korean people,
Yes.
hmm but not Japan.
Japan, no, that traditionally not. But recently, young people love spicy food. So some
Yeah.
young people bring some red pepper powder in their handbag.
Oh wow. What about in China? I think China has some really spicy
Spicy,
food.
yes. Marble tofu. I love it. Very spicy.
Marble tofu?
Marble tofu. Do you know?
Oh, marble tofu. I have no idea what tofu is, honestly.
Marble tofu,
Never
cheese
heard of
and
that before.
tofu. They are very
Yeah.
spicy.
Yeah, and I think something like that would be an acquired taste. If somebody had that for the first time, I think they would
Mm-hmm.
maybe they would not enjoy it because it's so
Mm-hmm.
spicy, right? So today we're actually looking at how spicy food is
Mm-hmm.
becoming a problem for a health reason,
Mm.
right? Spicy food is actually sending children to the emergency room,
Oh, really?
right? Yeah, and it's become a problem in the United States, enough of a problem for it to be mentioned on a national newspaper, right? So we're
Mm.
going to take a look and see. Before we do that, actually, Heidi, I did have a question for you, and that was, do you think spiciness is important to the taste of a food, or is spiciness something that simply adds to the food? Is it necessary for taste, or is it just something on the side?
For me, it's not necessary. But for many people, it's very necessary. Kind of
hmm
necessity.
I think for me it's necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we are so used to eating spicy food that it's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people say if it's not spicy, then we don't enjoy it so much. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's the idea. We'll still eat it. It might be delicious, but it's not as enjoyable if it's not spicy.
But
That's the idea.
Japanese people have a very sensitive tongue, I guess.
Yeah.
So m many cooks in Japan, um, the Chinese and the Indian, all Japanese cooks,
hmm
mm, they learn
Yeah.
how to cook in the other countries and return to Japan. They started some restaurant. But if some cook, American cook, cooking with Japanese, I'm little doubtful.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some of the best Japanese chefs actually come to California, and here they sell. They make sushi. They have their own restaurants. Very good, very high quality sushi. I mean, amazing stuff. You
So
know,
our tongue is quite sensitive because we don't have any spicy food so
you guys are too weak.
much.
No, I'm just joking.
But nowadays young people have only spicy food,
Hmm.
so I'm worried about that situation.
Yeah, and I think that's what these people are thinking too in the United States in this article that we were looking at, right? So there's this degree of, what are we going to do? This is not fair, why should we have spicy food? People are debating about this, right? So let's take a look, actually, Heidi. Take a look at this article. We're going to screen share it very quickly. And I like the fact that you're saying that it's not something that is necessary for food in particular, but it's still something that I find is interesting, right? So it's saying super spicy snacks, right, send kids to the emergency room, right? This is just from a week ago, a week and a half ago, right? So what is actually happening? Let's take a look. Oh, I forgot to give you the link. I'm really sorry. Let's see. I always remember the link, but I forgot this time. So, okay. It's saying here, so there was a California boy, so in my state here, who actually had to go to the doctor because of some spicy snacks, right? So spicy snacks send California boy to the doctor. Super spicy chips and snack foods have come under attack as being unhealthy, with certain school districts even going so far as to ban some brands from their schools. But now doctors say there's another reason spicy junk food should be avoided. It can result in a trip to the emergency room. Emergency room doctors said they were seeing kids and some adults coming into the ER with gastritis, right, and inflamed stomach lining, or other stomach ailments after eating bags of spicy snack foods, right? In Los Angeles, 12-year-old Andrew Medina experienced stomach pain on and off for weeks before seeing a doctor. It's like if you have a bruise or something, it really hurts a lot, is how Andrew described the pain to ABC station KABC TV in Los Angeles, right? So, any questions about this paragraph so far, Heidi?
No question.
Makes sense, right? I mean, why do you think someone would eat bags of spicy snack foods? Does it come as a surprise that they had to go to the hospital after they ate so many bags?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would you eat that many bags of spicy food, Heidi?
And no, I don't eat spicy food so much. Sometimes, yeah, I miss spicy food.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, generally, I mean, why would somebody want to do that much? I mean, I think it's common sense that you don't want to eat that many spicy foods, right? In any case, Andrew told KABC that he probably eats between 20 to 30 bags of spicy chips and snacks a month.
Too much.
Way too much, right? This kid is a clown. He doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, 20 to 30 bags a month means he eats maybe one or, one a day. On average, between, 2/3 and one bag of spicy chips a day. And who knows how big this bag is, right? If it's a family-size bag, then this kid has some problems, I mean, he needs to start drinking some coffee or something, or drinking
American
some
bag
milk.
is very big, I know.
Yeah, they're huge. I mean, like, I don't understand how this kid is, like, still alive.
Everything,
So,
everything's everything is bigger than Japanese.
yeah, we love big. We love big. Everything's bigger here. Bigger cars, bigger highways, bigger people, everything. So, let's see here. The practice among kids and adolescents to not only eat junk food, but very spicy junk food worries doctors, who say spicy snack foods can change the pH balance in the stomach, making it painfully acidic, right? So the pH balance, do you know what the pH is,
Yeah,
Heidi?
yes.
It's that measure of acidity,
We call
right?
it pH, kind of
Uh-huh.
acid and alkaloid.
Exactly. Exactly. Acids and alkaloids. Perfect, right? So that's exactly chemistry. Something that is an acid is something that has a low pH. For example, lemon juice, battery acid, things like that. Something with a high pH is an alkaloid. So, for example, baking soda, I think, is one of those ones. So Dr. Martha Rivera, a pediatrician at White Memorial Medical Center in Los Angeles, said she sees between 5 and 6 cases of children with gastritis daily. Daily. She sees 5 to 6 kids every single day that have this condition, gastritis, right? We have a population who loves to eat the hot, spicy, not real foods, and they come in with these real complaints, Rivera told KABC-TV. Dr. Robert Glatter, an emergency room physician at Lenox Hill Hospital in New York, said he believes that the flavoring coating the chips and snacks is what might be causing the stomach pH to change, right? Rather than just the spiciness of the snacks. So he's thinking that the flavoring coating, right? That the flavoring that coats the chips and the snacks is what might be causing the stomach pH to change. It's not just the spiciness of the snacks, right? So the snacks are naturally spicy, right? But there is this flavoring on top of the snacks, right? That might make the situation even worse. For example, he said he hasn't had a lot of people coming in doubled over from eating too much spicy salsa. So what do you think it means when we say this word or this phrase doubled over, Heidi? What do you think that means?
Too much.
Yeah, having so much that it's causing you pain, that you are in over your head, right? Sometimes we use this phrase in English, doubled over, or for example, in over your head, right? If you're in over your head, you are overwhelmed by something. So in this case, it would be spicy food. So his example is, he doesn't see people coming in with problems if they have just had spicy salsa. So it's not the spice. It might be that artificial coating, right? So that flavoring, that coating that's on the chips or on the snacks, right? Kind of a difficult situation.
Before I forgot, maybe it's China.
Yeah.
Very spicy food. Then he had a stomach ache, suddenly, some pain. Then he was brought to the emergency. But his stomach already had holes.
Oh, wow. So it was such a serious thing then for him, right?
And after doctor checked, scientist checked, it was chemical spicy food.
Exactly, right? So
the
chemical pH is probably even worse for somebody like that, I mean, if it's not natural, then do you think it's worse, Heidi? Actually, I think it's worse.
It's very bad.
Kind of crazy, Heidi, honestly, because I don't really know why people do this. I mean, like, I come from this same background. We have a lot of spicy food. We have a lot of crazy spicy dishes and things like that, right? But these people are just purposely eating this food. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, why would you do this, Anyway, whatever. Let's move on. So, in the past, right, this is the same doctor. In the past, I had not seen any problems with snack food until spicy flavoring became more popular. Right. So this doctor is constantly focusing on the fact that you have spicy flavoring, and this is the reason why we have these problems, right? Glatter said it wasn't just the high fat or high salt content, right, that the kids or adolescents crave, but the actual burn of the spicy flavoring, right? So what does this word crave mean, Heidi?
Crave, I want to get something eagerly.
Extremely eagerly, yeah, right? So you're just focusing so much, like it's almost like you're going crazy about it, right? If you have a craving for something, like one of my friends has a craving for chocolate, right? he has to eat chocolate with coffee, right?
Yeah.
If he has coffee without chocolate, he starts to crave chocolate, right? So it's kind of a difficult situation with that, and then so the doctor says it's almost like a food addiction, right? They seek out the burn. They're looking for that burn. You know what I mean? So that burning sensation is just really, I mean, it's not good for people if that's their reason behind eating it, right? It's a little thrill-seeking, right? It's like how much I can tolerate, or it's like how much can I tolerate? And I've seen a number of children who eat 4 or 5 bags and come in screaming in pain.
Wow.
Where are these kids' parents? Like, what is going on? You know, like this is like if this video wasn't recorded, I would maybe say what I really feel about these kids. You know, it's kind of ridiculous that the parents are just like allowing these kids to eat 4 or 5 bags, right? Um, any questions on that stuff so far, Heidi?
No question.
Okay. I just wanted to see, is there any other things? Okay, there's a couple more paragraphs here. Some spicy snacks, such as Flamin' Hot Cheetos, have come under fire for their low nutritional value, and multiple school districts have banned the sale of the snack on school grounds. Let me take a look at what this says. Flamin' Hot Cheetos, Google Images, right? My friend is telling me that he loves Flamin' Hot Cheetos, right? So, but he doesn't have any problems with his stomach, so maybe a good thing. But let's see. Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Let's see what these things look like. Yikes! Look at this guy. Look at this.
Cheetos.
Flamin' hot, right?
Wow.
Look at the fire on these guys, right?
Never eaten.
I mean, look at that. I've never had this before. Nope. But my friend says he loves them. He loves them, right? So we got these Cheetos. They're crunchy. Hey, they have 0 grams of trans fat. That's always good, right? No trans fat, but still. I mean, look at how red these chips are. You know,
Red.
I mean,
Yeah.
super red. You know, it's like wasabi chips. You know, and then so wasabi chips are better.
Yes, very delicious. I like it.
Yeah, but it's not as hot though, right? Or are they hot also?
It's different kind, right? It's spicy,
Yeah.
spicy, but different kind of spicy.
Let me look up for some wasabi chips actually. I want to see what these things look like. 'Cause I
In
have no
Japan,
idea.
even
One sec.
wasabi ice cream.
Really? Like these guys, wasabi chips? Is this what they
Yes,
look like?
yes. Good.
Nice. Okay. They look really good actually. So yeah, wasabi chips. Okay. Interesting. So let's see what else is. So some school districts have actually banned those products, those flaming hot Cheetos, right? The company did not immediately respond. So the company they're talking about is Cheetos, right? Cheetos did not immediately respond to ABC News, blah blah blah, because they don't want to. They'll lose money, right? This Dr. Glatter, he recommends that parents keep an eye on their children so they don't overdose on spicy snacks and stick to vegetables and other healthy snacks instead, right? So this doctor says parents should be aware of this, right? These products are not healthy, and some children seem to become addicted, right? So I don't really know. I mean, honestly, I think this article should have begun with the parents because it doesn't make sense to me that the parents are just not paying attention to what the kids are doing. You know, I mean, how can a child eat 3 or 4 bags of spicy chips and come running into the hospital? The parents have to know. I mean, who is the child going to come to the hospital himself? No. I mean, the parent's going to drive the kid to the hospital, and the parent's going to ask, "What did you do?" And the kid comes in saying, "I had 700 bags of flaming hot Cheetos." I mean, the parents are just not doing their job, I think. But I have a few questions for you, Heidi. What do you think about, for example, do you normally put a lot of spice in your food, or do you keep it lower spice?
Yes, a little, sometimes. We have some red pepper bought from in the supermarket, one package, but I don't use so much. Maybe 2 or 3 months. Very small package. It lasts around 3 months. So little by little I use it.
Yeah, so my mom probably uses 1 packet in 1 month. Depending on, because she uses different types of spices, so maybe she has 5 or 6 different bags, and she uses a little bit from one, but usually every, I would say, 1 or 2 months she needs to go and get more, right? Especially with chicken and with meat, we use a lot of spices. Yeah, fish also, chicken, meat, shrimp, even vegetables. Really, anything we have spice. We put spice in our rice.
Do you know ramen?
Ramen noodles, yeah.
In Japan, Osaka, quite a famous maniac ramen shop, ramen restaurant, hot ramen restaurant, and hottest is kind of hell.
Really?
Yeah, when he cooked, at first he needed to wear the glass, kind of uh, swimming glass,
The
and
goggles. Yeah, those
cover the,
goggles.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
masks.
Wow, it's that
Then,
hot there.
yeah, then he started cooking. Every customer, coho or something, they tears on their eyes, all and customers.
That's incredible. It's so funny that there are so many that even the cooks cannot tolerate the level of spice that they're cooking, right? I mean, that's pretty incredible. But, does it surprise you, Heidi, that these kids are eating this kind of spicy junk food?
Hmm. But maybe it's chemical spice, chemical things, I think.
Yeah.
That cook said it's very spicy. My restaurant ramen is very spicy, but I use only natural spice,
hmm
so
But
it's
in this
okay.
but in this example though, like from what the article is saying, does it surprise you that these kids are eating so much spicy food? Maybe, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
why do you think this is happening? Is it surprising for you
At
or?
first, parents gave him
Uh-huh.
very young age. Parents
Yeah.
tried to give them. Hmm.
The parents are not paying attention, I think, right?
Mm. I have a nephew, 4 years old. We've never given him some spicy food.
Uh-huh.
Hmm. And too
But
much
it's
sweet or too much salty. Mm.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. It's I think it's really kind of remarkable that, these kids, when the parents buy them these chips or these snacks, are they not
Mm.
paying attention? I mean, you
Maybe
know,
parents usually eat that thing.
really?
I think
I
parents
don't know.
normally eat that such spicy food.
But I feel like they should control that, like, I mean, even if the parents are eating it and they are noticing, maybe they just don't notice that they have to buy one of these bags every week because it's getting eaten up by the kids, you know.
Mm.
So I don't know. We will have to see maybe how this will impact things, right? I mean, because I honestly don't know if there's a better way to solve this problem, but just asking parents to take better care of their kids. I mean,
Me too. I didn't know that. The
yeah,
common food is in the supermarket, right?
yeah.
So people think it's safety, at least
hmm
buying in the supermarket.
Yeah. But even if it's sold in the supermarket, we should be very cautious with anything,
Hmm.
you
Yes.
know? I mean, these people that are selling this kind of stuff, who knows what they're making, right? I mean, just because, I mean, some of these commercial things are also
Hmm.
not reliable, right? Because who knows? I mean, it's all processed, right? Junk food and all these kinds of snacks, it's all processed food.
The government
So,
should announce that.
maybe. I think that might be a good idea, right? But
Hmm.
generally, I think when it comes to these kinds of companies, if the consumer refuses to pay,
Hmm.
then the company will stop making those things, right?
Hmm.
If there's a loss in popularity, then there's no demand, and supply will also go away. You know,
I think maybe it's very popular.
I
Mm.
think so too. I think so too. I think these cases are very specific cases where you
Mm.
have so many people, or you have these children that are having so much spicy food that they're not able to function afterwards, right? But generally, I think it's unusual for me that I don't think Cheetos will stop making those super super hot chips.
Maybe people adult drink beer and Cheetos. It's very good combination.
hmm
Mm.
hmm Or for example, peanuts. Sometimes people eat spicy peanuts
Yes, yes.
with a
Mm.
beer or something like that, right? Recently, I was at a Subway restaurant a few days ago with my friends, and we saw that Subway is now running a promotion for sriracha sauce.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know this sauce. I believe it's Vietnamese. It's called sriracha, right? It's this very hot, spicy sauce that it's so hot that you can see the chili the chili seeds in the sauce. It's this bright red sauce. And there is something of a sriracha revolution happening in the United States right now. You
How
know,
about jalapeno?
jalapeno is extremely popular, especially where I am right now. It's a very Mexican-American part of the country. So any restaurant you go to, any Mexican restaurant, obviously, there's going to be jalapenos. But even if you go to these kind of Subway restaurants, right? Whenever I go to Subway, I say, give me jalapenos, give me barbecue sauce, give me hot sauce. You know, everything is spicy. Everything is spicy. If it doesn't have spice, then it's not right.
Before I saw a TV from Mexico, Brazil, the kind of competition eating jalapeno, you know.
Hmm.
How many jalapeno do you eat like that?
Yeah, it's crazy what they can do, right?
Crazy.
They probably can maybe eat 10 or 15 without
Yeah.
taking water, without drinking water. The hottest one that I have ever had in my life was, and it was actually an Indian pepper. And it was, you had to boil it first and then eat small pieces with the meat, for example, or mix it with the meat, because otherwise it's too hot. Like literally you'll start to cry. If you just put it in your mouth directly, you'll start to cry. You know, so it's one of those things that, I mean, people are crazy. I don't think anybody has tried to eat more than 2 or 3 of those peppers in one, you know, at one time. You know, what do you do if something is too spicy? How do you stop that spicy flavor in your mouth?
I can't eat it.
No, but I mean, how do you get it out? Do you drink water? Do you drink milk? What's the best strategy?
Maybe milk is better, I think.
Yeah. I know people who drink soda,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if that helps.
Soda. Is
It doesn't help.
effective?
I don't think so. My friend is saying he tried it. He tried it, so he knows that if you have soda, it doesn't work, right? But
Before I was staying in Italy, then sometimes I had a sushi party or a tempura party. I invited my classmates, and twice or 3 times. At the end of the class, I needed to come back to Japan. Then I invited, but Korean student said, I'll prepare some food. So he cooked Korean ramen. It was red color, so I couldn't eat that.
really hot, right?
Yeah.
Wow. And the Koreans, they have a lot of barbecue sauce, I think, also that's very spicy barbecue sauce, right? Not sure. I've never been to a Korean barbecue, actually. I need to try Korean food. I know there's a lot of Korean options in the U.S., actually. Next week, I'll be in Los Angeles, and there's this truck that sells Korean food in the streets of Los Angeles. So I want to go and check it out.
Korean barbecue.
I've never had it, so I don't know. Maybe I'll like it.
It's very delicious.
Yeah. Is it what is better? Is it the chicken or the beef? What's more?
I like
What's
beef
better?
and sometimes pork. You can't eat pork, I guess.
Yeah, for me it's chicken and beef only.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, I think beef is going to be better than chicken, maybe.
Yes, beef is very delicious.
Very cool, very cool. And also, I had one other last kind of comment for this class. You know, I mean, in this example, like when we think about spiciness, right? You mentioned a little bit about Japan, how the level of spice is actually, or young people are getting more and more. They're getting more attached to spicy food, and now it's getting a little bit more popular. Why do you think this began? I mean, what caused this kind of trend?
A kind of competition. The young people go to some restaurant together. I can eat this one. Others surprised. Wow, like that. Maybe they are trying more spicy and more spicy.
And now are they making it so that they are? I mean, is it something that is offered in a lot of Japanese restaurants? Like, for example, if I go to a restaurant here, let's say it's an Indian restaurant or a Mexican restaurant or maybe a Chinese restaurant, right? They ask me, sir, how spicy do you want the meal? I can say, super spicy. They say number 1 through 5, how spicy, right? So is that option available in Japan if I were to go to a traditional restaurant, or are these special places where they
Special
serve the
restaurant.
spicy food?
Yes, yes. Special restaurant,
Hmm.
special ramen shop, or special curry shop.
Hmm. Interesting, interesting. Yeah, because I didn't think it would be possible to ask for
Mm.
something like that at any restaurant in Japan, I think. Yeah, that's
But you
true.
shouldn't try. You
It's going to
shouldn't
be very
try.
hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, you shouldn't eat the hottest one in the restaurant. Sometimes
Hmm.
it's dangerous. Like I mentioned,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
stomach had hole.
Yeah. The gastritis thing that we read about in this article. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, sounds great, Heidi. Just wanted to know, just wanted a quick recap. So we looked at the suffixes and the stress in this
Yeah.
class, right? So when we have a word that ends in a number of different kind of suffixes, for example, tion, itude, ly, all those kinds of suffixes, the focus, the stress of the word shifts to one syllable to the left. So for example, if we were to say verify, right?
Mm.
Verify, that
Mm.
verify, right?
Mm.
Is that is in the middle. So that's what becomes the kind of stressful syllable. And then we looked at these crazy people, these crazy kids that are eating super spicy food. They don't really know what's going on. Their
Mm.
parents are not taking care of them. I mean, and the companies that are making the food don't want to say anything because it's their fault. It's, I mean, it's not really their fault. I guess the people are just not being responsible. So any questions on any of that, Heidi? Just wanted to make sure.
No question, but I'll send a message to my sister. You shouldn't give him, my nephew, the spicy food.
Yeah, you can send the article to her maybe also. She can find some information from the article. But
Yes. Mm-hmm.
yeah, awesome, Heidi. I have another class coming up in
Yeah.
2 minutes, but besides that, everything. Hope everything goes well, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Bye.
take care, Heidi. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
About 2 weeks ago, or that week, 2 to 3 weeks ago, that time it was very low, but things are changing. We don't really know. I don't really keep track, honestly. I don't know. I just go to the gas station. If I find two gas stations and one of them is a little bit cheaper, then I go to the one that's a little bit cheaper. If
Do you
one
have
of them is a little bit more expensive, then
private plan?
do I have? Yeah, I have a private car. Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
India.
Because I have to
No.
I have to drive myself everywhere if I go. When
Not,
I came from
not about,
Wisconsin.
not about to India.
In India, people don't have private cars. I mean, actually, no. Now a lot of them do. A lot do now. My family doesn't have anything like.
Mm-hmm.
My family doesn't have a car in India. We have cars here instead. So
But do you have still some relatives in the Bangladesh?
yeah, we do. We do. We have everybody. Actually, everybody is there.
In Japan, in New Year's Day, many relatives gathered in the house. That
Uh-huh.
custom. How
Uh-huh.
about Bangladesh or India?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, Gregorian calendar. Yeah. Yeah. No, we have a lot of different people in India that have different calendars actually. So some of them use. They have because there are different regions in India with different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
The years are different. So, for example, the New Year for the Bengali people, my people, our
Mm-hmm.
New Year is April 15, between April 15 and 20.
Mm-hmm.
Another group, maybe another cultural group, theirs could be maybe the next week after that. Some of them begin early April, late March. A little bit of difference.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't all Indian people. It's not like saying all Chinese people have that one Chinese calendar. There are multiple Indian calendars in India, because different cultures, different languages, so a lot of variety we see.
Sometimes I wonder, we are Buddhist. Buddhism or born in India, right?
Yeah, yeah, it
But
was. The New Year for us is different actually. So it's not the January 1st New Year. For us, the New Year is actually in the spring. So
lunar
around
calendar? No.
it's a solar calendar, but
Oh.
it is the year begins right after the first day of spring.
Mm-hmm.
So similar, I think it's not right after, maybe 1 month after the first day of spring. So
Mm-hmm.
around April 15 April 20, that period is the New Year. And yeah, it's a major celebration, big celebration. Yeah.
Chinese New Year is very noisy.
Yeah, Chinese New Year is definitely one of the lunar ones, and yeah, big celebrations, dragons and floats,
Yes,
and
yes. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of food also, a lot of food.
Yeah, that's right. So in Japan, there are many Chinatowns,
Uh-huh.
so we can enjoy that in Chinatown.
Yeah. And does Japan have a traditional calendar, or do you guys just use the normal?
Before maybe we used to lunar calendar, but now a normal, but like
Gregorian casualties for something like, bad weather or
how
cold
about in
weather?
America? How about the economy?
Yeah, we do have people who, for example, they get frostbite or some people do die every every winter because just inadequate, heat. They don't have heating in their homes, or they don't have any way to stay warm when they are, even if they, I mean, they might not have a home, so they might live on the street, right? They might be homeless, and they might be struggling to have things like heat when they are, even if they do have a home, because heating is very expensive. It depends on many factors, and it's increasingly getting more and more expensive to survive in the winter temperature.
Yeah, food price is getting higher.
Yeah, every day. I mean, I don't know. Recently, I heard that gas prices in the United States were actually the lowest they have been in 2 years. Um,
Snow accumulated and covered mountain.
Hokkaido is getting a lot of snow then.
Yeah, not only Hokkaido, the the coastline of Japan Sea.
Uh-huh. Nice. Um, have there been any other casualties because of the winter?
Yeah, and some concert street. Once it had landslide, so they are repairing, but it's strong rainfall caused landslide again.
Hmm.
Then 5 or 6 people died.
Oh wow. So it's been a difficult thing for I think
They're
a lot of
working
people.
working in that place.
Hmm. Yeah, it's I guess I don't know. With Japan, I didn't think there would be problems with the winter weather. I assumed that people would be relatively, because it's an advanced country, so I thought it would be a country in which you would have not that many